Strategist, commentator for Young Voices is, Zachary Yost. Zachary from Pittsburgh, are you a Pirate fan? Because they sure started out good this year.
I root for all the Pittsburgh teams. I don't necessarily watch them that much, though.
Well, that makes you unique at Three Rivers Stadium, whatever that's called now. Anyway, good to have you on. All right, so what is the hubbub about power plants and what that means to me, Zachary?
Sure. So the EPA has proposed a new rule. They have to propose it in advance and allow time for commentary. That would basically require coal-fired power plants to sort of decrease their emissions, which in theory is great. But the trade-off is that adding this sort of carbon capture technology is going to be expensive, and a lot of power plants won't be able to afford to do that, and so there's a risk they'll shut down. And what a lot of people sort of in Congress, especially the senators from West Virginia, are raising the issue is that this risks sort of reducing our capability to produce the electricity we need.
Why isn't Joe Manchin a Republican? I just got blipped off on the West Virginia thing. It's no way he's a Democrat these days. Anyway, so what is that? I mean, I see what they're doing. It's the left pulling us again to clean energy, which nobody objects to, except it's going to take 80 years to evolve. We can't do it by Wednesday. So does this mean that we won't have enough power, or it's just going to cost a lot of money?
The risk is we literally won't have enough power. There's already risks of rolling blackouts and whatnot, especially during the summer and during extreme weather events. And this would just make everything worse. Coal provides 60% of our electricity. So if we just start knocking these power plants offline, then especially during the summer and periods when everyone's using AC, there's a chance there'll be rolling blackouts in large parts of the country. There's already, and this is sort of why Republican senators are saying we need to sort of pump the brakes on this first. We need to study what this is going to do. And one of the organizations, they're like, we need to consult them, is the North American Electrical Reliability Corporation, which works with the government a lot. And they produce every year a report on the risk of blackouts around the country, and huge swaths of the country are at risk for blackouts already before this rule would even go into place.
All right, so it's not imminent. They're just proposing it.
It has been proposed, and in addition to the senators calling for, we need to have some hearings and studies on this, they've already introduced legislation that would forbid the EPA from implementing this rule. And Joe Manchin, the Democrat, as you pointed out, is, even before the rule was published, he was like, this is going to be a disaster. I'm going to hold up any EPA nominee until this plan is put back on the shelf. So there is there's a chance it could be stopped.
Well, I think part of the disconnect is that the people on the side of all of these regulations, really, truly, I believe they believe it, that the world is ending in 4 years because of climate change, and there's no negotiation on that because they know. And so when you believe that, then you do it a little more in a frantic way. And again, we can evolve. I'll go all clean, but you just can't do it that fast. It's just going to take time. You want to get away from coal? That's fine. Evolve away from coal, but you better have something. Because I think in some ways, some weird ways, the far left actually wants pain, because then they can see how bad our country is and how evil we are. So you got that working for you, Zach.
I think some people are green zealots who hate humanity. Is what some of it comes down to. But, there's nothing inherently bad about wanting to reduce power plant emissions. The issue is trade-offs. As the economist Thomas Sowell says, there are no solutions, only trade-offs. So it's a question of, they cite health benefits from reducing these emissions, but there's also health costs if old people can't have air conditioning on a 95-degree day.
No,
so it's,
exactly. And then they're just saying the Republicans are being irresponsible. That's the whole. I know exactly what they're going to say. So it's just a constant fight. So these proposals not in law yet. They're talking about it, but it could mean rolling blackouts and certainly more because they could all put filters on it and just double my electric, I guess.
Right, yeah, and the electricity market's very complicated. There's usually some sort of caps on what utilities can even charge. So it's not exactly a free market in electricity. It's a super convoluted market.
Put a $1 zillion filter in, you can't charge more than 23 cents. I get it. Zach Yost, how can people connect with you?
They can follow me on Twitter at Zachary Yost and subscribe to my Substack, The Yost Post.
Nice to talk to you. Appreciate it. ESPN 93.5 on the Tapman's Towing phone line.